One of the frustrations of the current era is that by having a constitutionalist view of where the country should be, whereas that should not necessarily find partisan expression, for the last 10 years it has. And so I don't apologize for it. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I voted for presidential candidates of both parties, although I will say the numbers are widening. I'm not a partisan. I believe in the country. I believe in the capacity of us to get things right at the very end of the day. As Winston Churchill said, you can always count on the Americans to do the right thing once they've exhausted every other possibility. Yeah, here we are. So how did we get out of the 1920s? How did we go through it? I think we got out because of Franklin Roosevelt. I think, and again, not a partisan point, but by 1929, when the stock market crashes, beginning of the Great Depression, by 1932, democratic capitalism was in the dock. It was touch and go. Berlin, Rome, Tokyo, and Moscow had all gone in an authoritarian direction. One of the best-selling books of that era was by Anne Morrow Lindbergh, Charles Lindbergh's wife. It was called The Wave of the Future. And in her view, the wave of the future was not the messiness of constitutional democracy, but we would need a strongman-type government to, see if any of this sounds familiar, to take control of the means of production and possibly the means of media in order to have America compete in an ever-shrinking world. As Mark Twain once said, history may not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And FDR, in a desperate hour, worse than this one, okay? 1932, in February, 1 out of every 4 American men were out of work, okay? Democracy is fraying. There are food riots in the Midwest. The FDR, the suicide rate recorded its largest single increase from 1931 to 1935 in the United States. FDR, so the line we all remember when he becomes president, on Inauguration Day on the east front of the Capitol. It used to be on the east front, and so we would look out at the Library of Congress and the Supreme Court. We all remember the line, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, nameless, unreasoning fear that paralyzes our advance and converts progress into retreat, right? Fascinating, isn't it, that he used the word paralyze? He had taught himself to walk again. He thought he could teach the country to walk again. But the line that got the biggest cheer that day on the East Front was at the end of the speech, when he said, "Our current crisis is of such scope that I might require wartime-like executive powers to govern as if we had been invaded by a foreign foe." And the crowd roared. Eleanor Roosevelt wrote in her diary that night that she was chilled to the bone, that the people seemed ready for a dictator. And that night, a brain truster, a man named Rex Tugwell, comes to FDR, and like a good Episcopalian, FDR is having a glass of whiskey and going to bed. That's the way we do it. All 6 of us. It's why there's so much whiskey on the market. Tugwell says, "Mr. President," he's kind of pretentious when you think about it, "Mr. President, if you solve the crisis of the Depression, you will go down as our greatest president, but if you fail, you will go down as our worst." And FDR looked at him and said, "If I fail, I'll go down as our last." He understood the stakes of the hour. And he insisted that for all of its imperfections, democratic capitalism had to be rescued. And that the world I just described to you that was coming into being in the 1920s, where people were farther away from the places of their nativity, between the places where they were known, where family members could not necessarily take care of each other in the pitfalls of life and the inevitable aging, that the state had a role to play. And by the way, when we say the state in the United States, we mean us.